Hey guys, in this video we're going to deal with how to finish off your renovations, specifically in a bathroom. We should have enough skill sets by the time I'm done this video that you can hang just about anything or install just about anything anywhere in your house. We're going to deal with some electrical, some GFI, some plugs, light fixtures. We're going to deal with mirrors. We're going to deal with faucets. We're going to deal with anything you have to attach to the wall, really, okay? So we're going to have a bunch of different processes. We're going through drywall. We're going through tile. We're going to do just about everything you could ever need to do. We're going to show you how to use the basic hand tools to get all this done, all right? And then you can be competent and install anything moving forward. This should be a lot of help. It'll be pretty condensed. Hopefully, you're going to learn something new for the first time here. So let's just jump right in this. Generally speaking, I like to work from the top down, which means lighting. And that is easy because if I do the lighting, then I can turn the lights on, all right? So, because we have the camera here today, we have artificial lighting, we have our own lights. I'm not going to worry too much about that. So I'm going to install one of these light fixtures, and I'm also going to install a mirror, and I'm going to use a laser line for this, okay? Because we are looking for perfection here. Whenever you're doing a project, you want to use the center of your faucet to be exactly the distance, middle distance between your light fixtures, all these kinds of things. You really want to think end from the beginning, frame everything, put your boxes in with the end goal in mind, okay? So right now we've got this all set up so it's double sync, 2 oval mirrors, and the gap between the light fixture and each mirror edge is exactly the same on all along this wall. So I think we're going to get a great finish. This is my center line. I've lined it up on the sink here. And what we're going to do is, well, what's easier for the camera? I'll get on this side of the line. How's that? So I've already measured this off to be exactly center between the 2 light boxes. And it's right on my tap, which is what it should have been. If you're not sure how I came to that conclusion, you can watch the previous video on how to go from a single to a double sink, okay? I'm pretty sure we cover all the information about how to line up your boxes. I'm gonna put a reference mark here, just in case I end up kicking the light as I go along. Okay, so this is our mirror. It's a nice oval, see? That's why I put that pencil line there. I'm gonna wanna have that for reference, so we will put that back and straddle that, okay. What I'm doing now is I'm just going to go and look for what looks the best, right? I don't need to see the ceiling, and I'm 5'10 and a half, 5'11 in my dad's shoes, right? So I'm going to bring it down just a bit. This is good. My thumbs are actually about 2 inches below where the electrical box is. I like that. I can see everything I'm wearing. I can see right to the countertop. I think that's going to work out well. So we're going to keep that in mind. And we're going to take a look at the light fixture. That hole mounts right in the middle of the box. And the light centers a little bit below this. So that means the center line in this mirror should be about 1.5 inches below the box. So that's a good spot, right? Okay, now what I can do with my laser is I can raise this bad boy up. And the reason I love to use this is because I'm doing more than one mirror. If you're only doing one mirror, you can do all kinds of cheating here. But when you're doing 2, you got to have a system that you can duplicate. Because you can see the hooks on the back here. These are designed to put in 2 screw plugs in the wall, and you hang it on the screw. There's not a lot of mercy here, so you got to get this pretty dead on. Now, there's my laser line, about 2 inches below the box. We're going to call that the center. Okay? So now I'm going to find the center of my mirror, about there, okay? I'm going to put a line. All right, here we go. From that line, I'm going to go 9 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure up 9 inches from here. This is going to be the height of my hooks. And this is my center line, right? Here we go. And my hooks, my screw heads, are going to be 7 3/4 inches apart. Well, that's just brilliant. So let's change this again. Bathrooms are always so much fun because there's never enough room in here to really function. Okay, 7 5/8. If you're not good with math, you take your 7 5/8 and you just fold your tape over. Okay, and then you can read right there. It's 3 7/8. Okay. So I'm going to put 3 7/8 on my red line, make a mark, 7 5/8, make my other mark, There we go. Now all I gotta do is make sure that that line is level. And I don't need a laser for that. There we go. There and there. Now the only other thing you need to know now is if there's a stud there. And if we don't have a stud, then we know we need a wall plug. So you put your stud finder flat against the wall, and then you press the button. And when it says it's ready, which is the green light, you start sliding. There's a stud there. So I'm right on the edge of a stud. That's going to be tricky. And wow, I have another stud here. Very unique. Huh. So whether it's a stud or some other obstruction, I'm not exactly sure. I know my plumbing is in the center of the wall and it's horizontal here for the vents. And I'm not sure what's going on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an exploratory hole with, I'm going to use my Robertson bit. This is a safe way to check. There's nothing here that's sharp enough to penetrate a plumbing line or electrical line and do damage. So since we're not sure, we're just going to start like this. Yeah, right off the edge, okay? And then this, if I'm putting in a screw there, it's going to go, and it's going to be very, very unique. Here, I actually have stud. In this case, I don't need wall plugs. What I do need to do is just put a plug here and leave about 3/16 of space between the head of that screw and the wall so that that hook can go on. And over here, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to drill in an angle so I get positive contact with that stud. And the goal is to have that screw head line up where I want it when I'm done. Bam, loving that. All right, now there are two ways to mount these mirrors, right? You can take a airline wire and you can buy a little mirror hanging kit at the store and you wrap it around each end and then you only put one screw in the middle and then you can set your mirror on and you can level it off and that works great. But when you have two, you can't do that because they'll never be level. So this is why we've got to do it the old-fashioned hard way. What you want to do is get your fingers on here. If it's stiff enough, you can set them like that and forget it, great. Stand to the side, just line them up. There we go. Boom. But that's going to work great. But the secret here is taking this information and transferring it over there. So what we have to do before we move forward, okay, is get this horizontal line on again. And we want to take this information, and we were 9 inches above? Yes. And I want to come over here, off the center mark. I want to mark my 9 inches above, okay? And then I'm going to want to bring my laser level over off the center hole. Mark this, get a center line, measure both directions again, and do the same thing. Okay, now let's move on to the light fixture. I already know because this is my house and I wired this that the power goes to that box, then over here. So I'm starting at the end, I'll work my way back over there. And when I'm doing the first light in this series, I'll double check, make sure the switch is off so I don't have any power in it. Right now I don't know, but because it's not connected, I know there's no power in this. So just as a precursor, so you know I'm not working crazy with the power on. Not that that makes me nervous, but for today's video, we'll assume I'm sane. All right, here we go. This particular fixture comes with a few elements. Always open up your packaging before you go install. You'll never find light bulbs in a light fixture box in most cases. Okay, so we've got a lens, we've got the mount with the wiring, and we've got a mounting bracket, okay? And then this little ring here is what's used to tie all these together. And once it's connected, then you add the bulb afterwards. So let's just go through the process. First of all, we're going to need a Robertson screw bit, which we have because these screws are the mounting screws for this plate. And what we want to do is bring the wire through the middle. Nice and easy. And there we go. And because we're mounting through the middle off of this bracket, anywhere where we can set this where it's going to install easily, we're going to go with. Okay, you don't have to go with one of the little holes. You can use one of the big ones and adjust it over time. Doesn't really matter. These brackets are designed to be incredibly functional and actually incredibly versatile. You can even mount this round box on an old rectangular box and turn that into a light if you need to. All right? Because it has all these different options for mounting. Here we go. So I got my neutral, I got my power, and I got my ground. And for good measure, we're going to back out the ground screw. And then tighten it on. If you wire clockwise and you tighten clockwise, everything tightens when you use the drill. If you put it on the wrong side, it'll all just fire right out of it, okay? You're gonna run into all kinds of trouble. Look at this. This is cute, eh? Like I was saying earlier, you don't want to be doing all your fixtures and stuff until your paint has been drying for a couple of days. It needs to harden. Every time something bumps into it, it'll make a dent or a scratch or mark, and you can't wash it off. Remember, you can't wash your washable paint on your walls until 30 days after you paint, because that's how long it takes it to cure before you can wash it. Oh, geez, careful, Jeff, careful. Here we go. So you can see how I'm wrapping it around that wire a lot, trying to guarantee positive contact long term after this install is over. Hey, that's enough of that there, boy. All right, here we go. Now, I'm gonna take this wire and I'm gonna do that as well. I know this is overkill because these screws make this plate grounded to the box, but you know, going a little overkill isn't gonna hurt anybody in this situation. Now, you really wanna figure out where your wires are gonna go here, okay? And you wanna kind of connect everything around free from obstruction. And this is only 1/4 inch thick, and I've got almost 1 inch of this threaded rod sticking out, so we're gonna tighten it back up. And I'm gonna stick this on. Why is that only going in? There we go. I almost cross-threaded that, Max. That would have really sucked. Okay. So I have another problem here that I'm gonna have to deal with now. Can you imagine? Can you guess? Anybody guess in the comment section? That's right, I used a pan box. And for whatever reason, they decided to give us a 3-inch bolt for mounting this box. Like the bolt needs to be 1 inch long here. Looks like it's making contact with the ground wire in there. Let's move that out of the way. There we go. Now we should be able to get enough of that threaded in there to make enough room. All right. Sometimes the thickness of the ground wire is all that it takes, eh? I'm liking my odds here. Yes, sir. That was it. Now we're gonna polish this up. This is a great time to check for stickers, by the way. The sticker is actually on the ring. Sometimes it's on the light fixture. And it'll have a sticker telling you information about the light bulbs you can use. You want to remove that sticker as soon as possible. In the old days, we used to have incandescent light bulbs and got really warm. And those stickers would always leave a nasty residue if you turn the lights on before removing them. Electricians are famous for not removing stickers off of light fixtures, so be careful about that. All right, as it turns out, I bought some LED light fixtures, light bulbs. Holy crap, are these ever huge? Well, that's a lot of bulb. Just wanted 60 watts. I didn't realize I had to get something as big as my car. There we go. That's the light fixture installed. Yay. I would show you at work, but we'll show you in the end of the video, okay? We'll make sure that we do an after shot of the whole room so you get the whole idea. Here we go. On to the next fixture. We don't want to waste any of your time. So regular wall plug. We got a lot of wire here. Okay. I'm gonna grab the end and all you do is turn it. It creates a nice hook. Okay, it's easy to work with this. Okay, you set it on one side of that box and you can pinch the wire shut, and then you just tighten it on. Okay, piece of cake. Now generally on almost every fixture you get, the screws on the side with the ground are always the whites. All right, and brass and black, okay, white and the silver. So the way you remember this is the brass and the black go together. I think I did a video of this before and I got that wiring combination screwed up. It wasn't always incredibly comfortable on camera. My brains would scramble. Here we go. So we're gonna have, this is part of a circuit. So this power's coming in and going out, all right? So generally what I like to do is do the whites first, okay? Again, you pinch the end and you curl a hook into it. All right, now I am not a master electrician by any stretch, but let's just be honest. You don't need to have a master electrician to wire a receptacle any more than you need an engineer to drive a car down the street. This stuff is not that tricky. And anybody who's doing their wiring, wrapping the wire around the screws, is already miles ahead as far as integrity is concerned. Because on the back, they have these little holes. Push and play. Like you can just push the wire in there. I'm telling you right now, if you want to do a nice wiring job at your house, don't use those holes. Yes, they're convenient. Wow, that's really long. Yes, the holes are convenient, but they are known to fail. Get a loose connection. And then you can't ever pull them back out. You have to cut them off, which means you have a live piece of wire sticking out of the back when you go in the box next time. And you increase the risk of problems and starting fires and all that business. Just put a wire on a screw, all right? And stop being lazy. If you spend your whole career and you stop one fire from happening as an electrician because you do this versus the plug and play, it was worth the time you took, okay? Let's do this. Talk to me. Are you the, oh my God, light upside down? Or are you more like this kind of look? Which do you prefer? I like to make them look like a face. For whatever reason, the human brain recognizes that and it finds it more aesthetically pleasing. If you think I'm wrong, let me know, but I've had long conversations with people about this before. There is no actual right way and wrong way here. All right, and the secret is you push it to the wall and then you tighten it up. Okay? Don't over tighten because you'll push this too far inside and then the wall plate won't cover nice. Speaking of wall plates, if you do a decent job with your drywall, then you won't need to use oversized plates. You can get the normal size. If, however, you have too big of a hole because of your remodel, okay, you don't like that, you can always push them around just a little bit. There we go. Gotta love a good Olfen knife. As long as you got a knife on you, you never need a screwdriver. And again, these screws go vertical. Okay, aesthetically pleasing. Okay, now we can jump on to the faucet. Before we do, we'll talk real quick about the GFI, all right? Okay. GFI, all right, they have a few different versions out here. The idea is if something horrible goes wrong, it turns itself off. That's all you need to know as a homeowner. On the back, again, you got brass and you got silver. You got a ground screw and you have this little taped on section, okay? If you're only bringing a single pair of wires, a black and a white, you wire it right here. And if you want the circuit to continue from here, you remove the yellow tape and you put the black and the white here. And that carries on to the next fixture. Wow. That was complicated, huh? Listen, the technology is all in the switch. You don't have to know anything different. That plug down there costs $1.95, and this one costs $28. You gotta trust the technology. Don't wire it backwards, or you most likely will kill it, and then you have to spend another 30 bucks for a new one. They're a little bit sensitive. Let's just set these wires up. Now, this is contrary to common sense. This one's actually live. I'm just not in the mood to go downstairs and do this right now. We are going to wire the whole switch right up to the last live wire, and we'll do that one at the end, all right? Again, We'll do the ground first. Oh, neat. All right, my bad. These don't need hooks. See that, Max? These have got a big brass plate, and the screw released makes hole to slide the wire straight in. Cut them all back again, and we're just going to go with whatever the recommended distance is for this. Nice, not too long. You don't want to have exposed wires sticking out of the back of the box. Well, this is actually going to be a lot more entertaining than I thought. So you have to hold it upside down in order to release the plate. Okay, then you can turn it over, tighten the screw. Good. Now we're going to do the two whites. Now, this is the one with the power, okay? And this is the one where the power comes in. Okay. And we'll... Interesting system they got here. All right, now both of these screws are all the way through to the other side of the brass. All right, flip it over. Okay, now it's time for some safety precautions because we're going to deal with a live circuit. I'm going to wrap all of the screws in electrical tape. Okay, perfect, loving it. And here's the reason why. If you touch a live wire, you don't electrocute yourself because there's no circuit until it connects to the neutral. So if I can't come in contact with the neutral wire, I can't complete the circuit. Loving it, eh? So now we're going to take the live power off and we're going to cut it back a little bit because it's a little long. We're going to treat it with a healthy amount of respect here. If anything goes wrong here, it's on me. So what I want to do is get rid of this. I'm going to open that gate up. Okay. I'm holding the tab at the end because these two are always safe even in a live situation. Okay. Good. All right, now let's hit the reset button and the little light should turn on. Oh, I guess the power wasn't on after all. Right on. Okay, I'll have to go down and turn the brake around. Always better to treat it like the power's on. And then you'll never have to worry about someone like, let's say one of your sons going downstairs, and they go downstairs and they go, oh, that one's not working, that must be mine. Yeah, that happens. So, the other thing you can do is have a little proximity tester, a little green stick on you or something. All right. So I just threw my laser level on the mouth of that plug. And it's on the mouth of that plug. So the boxes are perfectly level. What we have here is going to be really common. This countertop is not installed level. There's a nasty slope. It comes with these beautiful big feet on it that didn't give us the ability to level it off to perfection. What we have is flat, stable, and pretty darn level. As a result, this plug is a 1/4 inch lower towards the countertop than this side, and I have a stone backsplash. So, although it looks great, it's going to be an issue as soon as I put the back on. So, what I've got to do, got to raise this bad boy up because I need 4 inches of clearance. Right now, I only have 3 7/8. Okay, so now I get to show you how to fix this. As a DIY renovator, you're going to want to follow a lot of these little tips, little systems that I use, okay? Here's one of my systems that I use. When I mount my boxes, I mount my boxes with one screw on a 45-degree angle from the middle going into the second hole, all right? Here's why. Look at the size of this cover plate, okay? Right? I've got almost a ½ an inch of mercy here that I can play with. So, let's dig right in here, Max. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out drywall so that I can raise the box. Now, this particular box has got the set screws on the inside of the box, which is brilliant. So when you're shopping, you got choices. The boxes come with the set screw on the inside, or there's a little flange on the top and the bottom. Whatever you do, make sure you always set it so that you can maneuver it to a new height. Okay, now, up we go. Right on. Okay. Again, let's get the mouth working. Let's pre-bend the wires so they collapse properly. Again, finish vertical. Now, listen, this is kind of like best case scenario. Everything's brand new. Everything's already flat and level. You know, using a laser level works. But as soon as you have to start modifying things to fit a space, like we did with the vanity, and you can watch that in the other video that we did about how to go from single to double vanity. Really, this should not be that difficult for a screw, right? Okay, here we go. Then you'll appreciate the amount of effort and energy that goes into making this look good. I'm only off ½ a degree, maybe 1 degree tops, over 6 feet. And that 1/8 of an inch is the difference between me doing what? Cutting the plate? What's the other option here? Cut the stone I'm about to stick on? No, the option is lift this up and make it look like it's set at the same height. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's still going to look perfect when you walk in. And nobody's going to walk into your bathroom with a laser glove and go, aha, you're out a 1/16 of an inch. So there we go, problem solved. Listen, because we have lots of room, we're going to do the backsplash. Then I'm going to add the silicone seal, and then I'm going to put the faucets in. Why the heck not, right? Let's just make life difficult for me. Work top down and back front. I would suggest usually in most cases putting the faucet first, but I'm down for a challenge today. So I'm going to go get the backsplash, and I'm going to teach you how to mount this. And no, you can't just use anything. You got to use the right stuff. So let's just do a test on this first. See how it looks. That's upside down. We really don't want to start in the wrong direction. There's a polished and an unpolished edge here. This is natural stone. I think it's quartz. Alrighty. Look at that. That's pretty darn awesome. You can tell gravity does most of the work here, right? When you go to install anything that's a stone, follow the same procedure like as if it's natural stone. If you treat everything like marble, you'll never make a mistake. Marble is porous. Different products have different porosity. And you can attach things with white silicone, black silicone, clear silicone, PL premium. But sometimes the wrong combination of those adhesives will cause you to see the adhesive stain through the stone. And you'll end up with a big squiggly line. And then who's gonna look like an idiot, eh? So, might I suggest the best process here is to just lay it down. You don't even have to get too close to the edge. Okay, gravity's going to do most of the work here. All right, and we're going to just slide it into place. There you go. So, I don't even know if I'm happy with that. I might have to take this off and just raise it up another 1/4 inch to get a bit of a gap. Resist the temptation to press it into the wall. Most walls have got a bit of a bend and a wave to it, okay? Come back with your clear silicone and just throw the tiniest little bead right against the top. And if the hole opens up, just make it a wider bead. The reason we're using clear is because it's a pre-painted surface, okay? And you'll see the paint through the silicone after it dries. And you won't really be able to tell the gap. Now, don't use just transparent. The transparent stuff gets a little cloudy white, and it never looks as nice. But the clear always comes out looking more like a window, like a piece of glass. All right. And when you do this, you want to have the side of the finger pressed against the wall so that if it squeezes anywhere, it squeezes onto and behind the stone. Okay, you see the gaps? Unacceptable. Always managing your silicone and your drips, all right? Get a bigger hole and then open up the hole that wide and then just do a second pull, close that gap. If you fill it properly, you won't get those shadows and stuff from the product not making contact with the back of the stone and behind it. I know that looks a little funny right now, but let it dry and it almost totally disappears. That's how you fix an imperfect world. Clear silicone. Do not touch that again. Once you put silicone somewhere, do not work above it for at least 24 hours, all right? Or 12. Like, don't be nuts, but at least 12. Now we're also going to want to put a little bead right down here to prevent water from getting in between the backsplash and the countertop. And this is just a thin bead, nice and easy. Always managing the tip of that silicone. This is where having the faucet here first is difficult. Trying to manage that. Look at all the difficulty I'm having here. Turn your water on. Use your finger to drive it. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to move on to the other faucet. In case you didn't see me install the faucet on the going from 1 to 2 vanity video. Okay, we're going to do the quick version of this. For the extended version, you can watch the video where we went from not 1 vanity to 2, but 1 sink to 2 sinks. We changed the plumbing, we opened the wall, we did everything, rerouted it. All right, so it's worth a watch because one of the ways you can increase the value of your home is if you have a single vanity in your master bath, change it to a double, his and hers, right? Easy money. Okay, so here we go. I just tried to remove what I saw was a foreign obstacle in the drain. It turned out to be a piece of that broken glass from that damn light I wanted to show you. So reached down and pushed it with my finger, and guess what? It didn't move, but the finger did. That really sucked. And there we go. I just saved $1,500 in hospital bills. Okay. Just joking. I don't have to pay for mine up here, and I didn't want to rub it in. Here we go. Here's our faucet assemblies, right? All right. When you're dealing with these widespread faucets, there's always multiple parts. Make sure you consult with the installation instructions, but for the most part, you're going to have something like this. You back up the bottom plate, so now you have something nice and tight, and the handle goes on, and it makes something pretty with 1/8 of an inch there, so there's no rubbage when you're opening and turning it, okay? Piece of cake, and then we can thread on a washer from underneath. They're marked hot and cold. All right, and then we have the faucet line, which has got something similar going on right here like that. There's no way to connect that and hold it in place until afterwards, yay. This is the drain, comes with a gasket for up top. It's also threaded here, okay? Here is a place, I think I forgot to do that on the other video, Max. Anything that's threaded should have a joint compound, okay? And it can be as simple as something like this. Been in that box, man, for months. But look at that, comes out like brand new, okay? Nothing too serious. Go backwards until it sits in the cradle there. Off we go to the races. Okay, that's just to make sure that nothing leaks down the road. You can buy different tail pieces. That's why it comes like that. All right, sort of different functions. So whatever, is what it is. We just drop that in the hole, and everything else we connect from underneath. Here's the short and skinny on it. Okay, so you drop that in, and then from underneath you put this other gasket on this way. Okay, there's a hole in the sink that you want that wedge to fill, and it goes under compression by using a slip ring and that, and then you tighten it all up. Okay, now if you want to watch the whole plumbing assembly, we've got it in the video for how to go from a single to a double sink. I suggest you watch it. It's very detailed and step by step, but just so you know, plumbing is pretty basic. Every time you buy a plumbing fixture, it comes with instructions. All right, and if you like these particular faucets, they're very affordable. Rebuild Pro, put information in the video description so you can find out where to get it where you live. The good thing is the faucet part here, okay? It's a push connect. All right, and so the water supply, hot and cold, go into the bottom here underneath the sink, and then you just push connect the top in. All right, it's about as simple a plumbing as you're gonna find in the market, and this stuff works phenomenal. Let's just get it on. Make sure your handles go in horizontal so you turn towards you. That's why they're marked hot and cold, because they operate in the opposite function. So make sure you put the hot on the right side. And there's this lovely little set screws in here for the handles. Okay, this little piece of packaging that looks like garbage, keep it. Don't throw that out. All right, there we go, there's the skinny. Woohoo! Okay, now remember I showed you how to draw the lines over here for the other mirror. I wanted to just put this one in because, real quick, I got weirdly lucky with studs and framing in the wall. This one, not so lucky. I missed it by ½ inch. And this one, there's nothing here. Okay, so in this case, I'm just gonna take my Phillips bit, all right? I'm gonna put it right where the hole is. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna punch a couple of holes in here. I'm gonna show you, I get these at Home Depot, okay? These are actually one of the best drywall anchors out there. Now, if you haven't seen it, we do a video. We're kind of making fun of drywall anchors because most of them don't work with their darn, all right? These actually do. You collapse the middle and you push the points over, all right? You stick them in that hole. And generally speaking, they're bigger than your drill bit. Take your hammer and sink them in nice and flush. They have that star grid on the backside. It cuts the drywall, okay, so they won't twist. So feel free to give them a good shot, all right? And then inside the package, they have this little red plunger, okay? And it's skinny, 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 and then it gets thick. And you want to put that plunger in there and push it until the thick part goes all the way to the back. Maybe I'll just show you what happens to it. And what happens is it pushes the back out, okay? And then when you put in the screw goes all the way through the back and then pulls it nice and tight and creates this crazy wedge, all right? That is a really good system, and I love it. It's harder than you think sometimes. There we go. All right, it takes a lot of force. There we go. Now, these are Robertsons, imagine that. Wasn't expecting that to be a Canadian product. And then at the same time, you shouldn't be surprised that the best plug system that I like is a Canadian product. All right. Okay, one more quick time. I haven't even checked to see, but because it's a Robertson screw and I'm thinking it's a Canadian product, I'm gonna check to see if this is available on Amazon. If it is, I'll put it in the video description down below. Not too many Robertson screw fixture products available in the States. Wow, the back of this mirror is crazy sharp. Phew. I almost want to wear gloves touching this thing. That's what happens when you purchase stuff. Actually, these weren't even on Amazon. My wife went and bought these at the store. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Another reason to buy an Olfa knife right there. Makes your finger really long. Piece of cake, right? Ah, she's coming together. Okay, so this part of the video is going to be just really just information based. It's not going to be a step-by-step install. I don't want to be the guy that makes an installation video for every kind of door on the market in every scenario. I'll do that for a whole year, right? It's not helpful. But what we are going to do is we're going to share the thinking process, the design process, so that you order the right door, okay? Remember, when you are building a shower, your pan has got a certain size, but it gets attached to the framework. And then we add a tile backer board or cement board or water resistant drywall or whatever have you of ½ inch. Then we're adding thin set and tile. So your build out is almost an inch on each side. So usually, if it's a brand new build, you'd have a 34-inch space. On tile, and now I'm 33. And now when I measure this across, I actually end up at 32 3/4, okay? So when you go to the hardware store, and this is part of the reason why we did this, because you can buy all this at Home Depot. They make these Insight is the model, all right? And it's called a pivot door, which means it has a piece of hardware where the door's hinge is swinging on a hinge. It's not a slider. And small spaces, you gotta have a hinge door. And it'll give you two numbers. And this is the range, okay? The hardware itself has got a bracket that attaches to the glass that you can adjust with a drill. And you can slide the pin over the bracket up to 1.5 inch distance from one to the next. So what you end up doing is, when you get this kind of a package, you first take the instructions and you gotta read through them all right? To make some sense of it, because every company is a little different. In this particular situation, one side of the door has got 3 pieces of aluminum track that can be built out, which is really mind-blowing. So let's take a look at this. So here we are. Obviously, this is the piece that the door will close against. Okay, the door itself has a magnetic track on it. And here's a piece of track that you could use, all right, because I like to be able to put, this is actually the middle piece, believe this or not. Okay, you ready? There we go, there's the middle piece. This is the piece that actually gets attached to the wall, okay? And the fun part here is, you would put a silicone adhesive on there. Now they tell you to line this up and drill holes. We already know how hard it is to drill a hole around here. But then the second track sits right in it. It has a little groove. Here, check that out. They stack together, kind of like a Lego block. Okay, all right. And then the door track would fit inside of it. And you would actually put the screw through both pieces of trim, the holes line up. And then you put the door track inside of this one. There we go. And that's how you would get the build out for a really small shower. Well, my shower is a 33. So it would stand to reason that I wouldn't need this much build out, right? But the truth of it is even when I fully extend the door on the hinge, I measured it off in advance. This is a little bit more than I need, right? But instead of using this piece with that track up against that wall, I'm gonna cheat and use this piece up against the wall with the silicone. And then I'm gonna come by and install this track. And here's the cool part. I'm gonna show you when we do the installation later, but my thinking is this. Since I have a little bit of mercy here, I can make adjustments for level, okay? And I can take a point and I can pre-drill a hole through both pieces of metal. And I have a special cap, like a dish with a screw and then a snap-on chrome cap that I can get. And I can do that from the inside, obviously, so it's more decorative. And I can get this lined up perfectly, all right? I like that flexibility. So that's how I'm gonna do it. That means I need these two pieces. So this one is gonna go on this side. This track goes on this side. Now, here's where it gets a little weird. In all the years that I was working and we'd have custom glass installers come on site, never once did these guys ever drill anything into the tile, okay? They simply used the structural silicone, put painter's tape on it, and then came back the next day. That's what we're gonna do. In a lot of cases, they would use two-sided tape and then silicone on the back of the track and stick it all in place, okay? And then they would silicone the outside edge, tape it, mark it, do the whole install, and then let everything set up afterwards. Blows your mind. There's really no need to be pre-drilling holes and putting penetrations in the wall. If you use the right kind of silicone and tape it in place, she's not going anywhere, all right? That's what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start this video right after it's all set up, okay, and then we can show you how to assemble the door and make the adjustments, because I think that'll be a lot more valuable than watching me put silicone and tape everywhere. So you're gonna have to figure that out for yourself. Every shower is gonna be different. And these kits come, these doors, they come in these increments, okay? So they actually carry like 5 or 6 different sizes in the store locally, which is really handy. So make sure you measure properly for the finished space. If you're gonna order a door or something like that, you've really gotta consider, how level is my wall? Am I gonna be building it out? Am I adding a 1/2 inch thin set or a 1/4 inch and collapsing it? So it's always best to try to order something like this after you're finished the tile. Don't guess in advance, because it's just gonna be very frustrating. These are actually in stock. It was really, really handy. All right, so now it's time for me to install the door, and I've read through all the instructions. I've got my parts out. I understand the process. It's not that tricky, step by step, just follow their advice. Earlier I mentioned how I was going to install the track for the door and just use my structural silicone and 2-sided tape to set it in place. I did that, and I came back and I took a look at it, and I wasn't really happy, because when I finished reading the instructions, I realized there was no top rail. This is a frameless door, right? There's only a frame on the left and right side. There's nothing across the top. So in reality, there's nothing to keep the weight of that door from pulling away from the wall over time. So in hindsight, I decided to go back, and even with the frame installed, I was able to go with a 3/16 bit, glass and tile bit, okay, to get through the porcelain and the glaze. And then I used a 3/16, one of these bad boys here. It's a masonry drill, and put it in my hammer drill, and it punched the hole in no time. And I was able to set a couple of those screws on each side. That's always an option. I usually use 1/4 inch bits, but 3/16 worked just fine. And then I was able to use the stainless steel screws in the package to fix it all in place. I did have framing in the wall set up earlier. Whenever you're installing anything in the way of a plumbing fixture, tub, shower, always anticipate someone's going to install a door later on, and put framing in the wall, and it'll save your bacon. Okay, here we go. We'll show you the assembly, and then I'll show you a few key points for when you're setting a door in place, because this is a safety glass. You can tell because it's got a stamp. Okay, safety glass always comes with a stamp to prove that it's safety glass, which means that if I use the wrong kind of pressure or put pressure in the wrong place, it'll just shatter. It's actually happened to me on a job site before. Something like this, only shorter. For a neo angle shower, I set the corner, I lined it up, started sliding it back, and the corner of the glass hit a screw head that was protruding just a little bit too far in the track. Yeah. You can't just go to the store and buy a replacement, right? You have to call the manufacturer, they have to ship it out special, it takes weeks. It'll drive you crazy. So when you're working with this stuff, be really careful to follow all the instructions. Read it, and then read it again, and then follow it after, okay? That's all I can say. No two system in the world is exactly alike, and there are hundreds of different manufacturers out there making this stuff. So my suggestion is be careful. There's a company out there, I think it's OVE, right? They make great products, but their glass is 10 millimeter. That's 1/2 inch. Their products are incredibly heavy, all right? We bought one of their shower kits once, and it took 4 grown men to carry it upstairs. It was unbelievably heavy. It should be in 3 boxes, not 1. I don't know what they're thinking. So try to stick to the thinner glass. This is like a 3/8. It's a lot lighter. You'd be surprised the difference 40 pounds makes, all right? Okay, now, they suggest to put this on facing away from the magnet, all right? And that's the bottom, and that's the top. It fits evenly, great. So just start with one side. There we go. And just a word of warning, don't just run your thumb along to push it down. It'll get incredibly hot really fast, and you'll be burned before you realize what happened. That too, I learned the hard way. Okay, that is the inside of over here. This is the outside of the glass. That's where the decorative part goes. Here we go. We get to set that up. It's funny because, you know, you can always use these compression fittings through glass. As long as the metal's not in contact with the glass and you've got these plastic fittings, you can put all kinds of pressure on the glass. It's really strange. In these situations, don't be afraid to over tighten. If you go too loose, it'll just loosen up on you, okay? To date, I have not been in a situation where I've been able to over tighten this. Here goes everything. So now I gotta get it on my shoe so I can get my hand underneath it. Pick it up. And we're gonna set this thing in place. Now it comes with a bracket that goes on the very bottom. Oh, 1 second. There's a little plastic piece that goes in the hole. That's the same size. Yeah. And that's about here. Craziest thing I've seen. I need to really make an adjustment here. I have to adjust this hinge to make this door as wide as possible now. So that's the widest it'll go. We'll bring this into position, set it on the bracket. Yes, it's gonna be too wide. We're gonna back it up about a 1/2 inch. Okay. Okay. That's perfect. Now I'm in position where I can install this bracket, right? Again, we gotta put the extra plastic wheel on here. We gotta set that down. All right. I've also got that really in a bad spot. Had no mercy for the install up there. And then that happens. Okay. Try that again. This is one of these moments you've just got to say to yourself, I'm gonna drive myself nuts. It's gonna be frustrating as hell. I'm gonna get through it. I'm not gonna lose my temper. 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 Okay. Now, believe it or not, I'm supposed to now. God. Get a little tiny screw. Screw in place here to hold this bracket. Petrified. Oh, of the door coming off. Okay, this ain't gonna work. And I'm talking about the guys who made this door. What the hell are they thinking? There is a little set screw in here, so I'm gonna tighten it, which creates compression from the hinge and the outside panel. And I'm gonna just tighten that so that nothing's slipping around anymore. Now I can use both hands. Okay. Maybe, just maybe, with my big fat fingers, I can get these tiny little pieces together. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, good luck with that. I need a longer drill bit. I can't get my drill to line up because I need a longer drill bit. That's hilarious. I need to go get my 6-inch drill bit now. Be right back. Times 4 or 5 inches just isn't gonna do. You gotta pull out the big guns. Just so you can get the right angle. Okay. Whew. All right. Right, now what we want to do is we want to level this off. We want to kind of square this up so that it's sitting in the hole properly before we bring in the next track. Okay. Good. Yeah, it's funny. I was more concerned at the very beginning that I wasn't going to have enough room. My hole was going to be too big. Now I'm loving it. Okay, so I don't need this anymore. That was temporary, okay? What I want to do is I want to get the last piece of track. All right, this track goes inside of this one. Here's my track, and I have to drill from the back side in 3 spots to make a hole the right side for my machine screws. So I push it all the way in. I bring the magnet over. Snaps out the track exactly where I want it. Now in this situation, as soon as you feel yourself go through that second piece, since it's just a hole, there's no other glass or anything, you're fine. Stop what you're doing, get yourself a set screw, line this up, okay? Hopefully this works. It's always a terrifying moment because the hardware they bring you is usually really soft alloy. And because that felt a little bit too tight, this time I'm going to drill the hole and I'm going to give it a little bit of wiggle room just to open up a hair more. Okay. There we go. This time I'm feeling a lot more confident. I don't want the thread to have to fight that hard getting in that hole. Perfect. One for the bottom. Okay. Next thing is the handle, relatively tight. The washer will compress at that point without putting all that pressure into the glass. And that's what's going to keep it from shattering on you, just tightening on the handle. Maybe one of these days we'll buy one, we'll just reef it on and blow the door up for fun next, but that's what it's for, okay? So don't have that experience and go, oh, I don't need a washer. There goes your door. It's 5 cents for the washer, probably another $150 for the replacement glass door. All right, let's see how it works. That looks all right. It's an interesting installation. Okay, now the only thing left for me to do, it really is to just go along with all my silicone, double check all my joints, make sure everything is cleaned up and topped up and looking pretty, right? This is adjusted, it's functional, it's done. Now, this is the benefit of doing the frame in one day and then walking away, okay? Speeds up the whole process. Find something else to do with your time. Come back later when everything's fixed in place and you're ready to hang on it, okay? All right, brilliant. Well, hopefully that was helpful, guys. There's a lot of tips and a lot of tricks. What you really need to know is every product out there is going to have installation instructions. Nowadays, they don't always ship it with the product. You have to go check online with the product code and the name, and the instructions are always listed there. Make sure you follow the instructions. Don't cowboy it and just go, oh, I've done these doors before. And it's too many products, too many different nuances, too many competitors in the marketplace to be able to do that anymore. We're long gone are the day where things just make sense. Now we're all engineered really uniquely. So I've installed, I don't know, maybe 100 or 150 shower doors in my day. And I've only done 5 or 6 of them that were the same make and model twice or 3 times. It's crazy, but that's just the way it is. All right, don't forget, if you like this information and you want to learn more tips and tricks about maintenance and installation in your home, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to follow us, subscribe to the channel. Put it in the comment section down beneath. You just hit the show more and expand the comments. Tell us what kind of information you're looking to see, because we've got our new studio up and running and we're making content specifically to inform you of how to do certain things. We're finished the farmhouse now. We're no longer making videos about what I'm up to. We're making videos specifically for you to help you out. Okay, so jump in the comments and tell us what you'd like to see. And if you want to learn more and you're just hanging around on a lazy Saturday, then click right up here. We got our bench series, okay? These are specific videos that teach you tips and tricks for all the little things in life that only take a few minutes to watch each. We'll see you soon.